Gaius Caesar Germanicus, later known as Caligula, was born in 12 AD. He entered a world steeped in power and intrigue, the Julio-Claudian dynasty, a tangled web of family ties and bitter rivalries. His father, Germanicus, was a beloved general. His mother, Agrippina the Elder, was a formidable woman. Young Gaius grew up amidst the grandeur and shadows of the Roman Empire. He witnessed firsthand the machinations of power. Caligula's early years were marked by both privilege and peril. As the son of a prominent general, he enjoyed a privileged upbringing. He was exposed to the inner workings of Roman politics. However, the Julio-Claudian dynasty was rife with suspicion and violence. His family faced constant threats from rivals and enemies. This atmosphere of danger undoubtedly influenced his developing personality. The nickname Caligula, meaning little boots, was given to him by his father's soldiers. He often accompanied Germanicus on campaigns. Dressed in a miniature soldier's uniform, he became a mascot for the troops. Despite his privileged upbringing, Caligula's childhood was marred by tragedy. His father, Germanicus, died under mysterious circumstances in 19 AD. Agrippina the Elder became a vocal critic of Tiberius, leading to her exile and eventual death. These events left a deep scar on young Caligula, fueling his paranoia and thirst for control. After the deaths of his parents, Caligula was summoned to Capri by Emperor Tiberius. It was a place of rumoured debauchery and cruelty. The young Caligula found himself trapped in a gilded cage. Surrounded by depraved courtiers, his psyche warped. Life on Capri was a dangerous game of survival. He concealed his resentment and ambition. The years on Capri transformed him into a ruthless emperor. Upon the death of Tiberius in 37 AD, Caligula became emperor. Initially, he was greeted with widespread jubilation. The Roman people, weary of Tiberius's oppressive rule, saw Caligula as a beacon of hope. He was young, charismatic, and seemingly generous. He released political prisoners, abolished unpopular taxes, and staged lavish public games. He quickly gained the favor of the masses. Caligula's early reign was marked by a period of relative peace and prosperity. He initiated public works projects, repaired infrastructure, and strengthened the military. He presented himself as a benevolent ruler, concerned with the welfare of his people. This initial popularity further inflated his ego. The Senate, initially wary of the new emperor, was quickly won over by his charm and apparent goodwill. However, this facade of cooperation would soon crumble. Caligula's true nature, hidden beneath a veneer of civility, would eventually emerge. The seeds of madness were already sown, and the emperor's erratic behavior would soon plunge the empire into chaos. In 37 AD, Caligula fell gravely ill. The nature of his illness remains a mystery. Some historians believe it was a brain fever, others speculate about poisoning or a mental breakdown. Whatever the cause, the illness had a profound impact on Caligula's personality and behavior. He emerged from his sickbed a changed man. After his illness, Caligula became increasingly erratic and unpredictable. He displayed fits of rage, paranoia, and megalomania. He began to believe in his own divinity. He demanded to be worshipped as a god. He ordered the construction of temples in his honor. His actions became increasingly bizarre and cruel. The emperor's paranoia deepened. He saw enemies everywhere. He instituted a reign of terror, ordering executions and confiscations without trial. Caligula's illness marked a turning point in his reign, transforming him into a tyrannical madman. His actions alienated the Senate, the military, and the people, setting the stage for his downfall. Caligula's claims of divinity were not merely a symptom of his madness. They were a calculated move to consolidate his power. By declaring himself a god, he placed himself above the law and beyond reproach. He demanded absolute obedience and adoration. He transformed the Roman Empire into a theocracy with himself as the supreme deity. His demands for worship were met with a mixture of fear and ridicule. The Senate, forced to comply, publicly acknowledged his divinity. However, behind closed doors, they plotted his downfall. The people, initially awed by his power, began to question his sanity. His extravagant claims and bizarre behavior eroded his popularity. Caligula's delusions of grandeur further alienated him from his subjects and hastened his demise. Perhaps the most infamous example of Caligula's eccentricity was his treatment of his horse, Incitatus. He showered the horse with lavish gifts. He provided it with a marble stable, ivory mangers, and purple blankets. He even appointed it a senator, supposedly intending to make it a consul. Incitatus became a symbol of Caligula's madness and extravagance. The horse's pampered lifestyle contrasted sharply with the suffering of the Roman people. While the emperor showered his horse with gifts, his subjects struggled with poverty and oppression. This disparity fueled resentment and discontent. By elevating his horse to a position of power, he mocked the Senate and the established order. The story of Incitatus encapsulated Caligula's madness, cruelty, and contempt for tradition. It served as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and the corrupting influence of absolute authority. In 41 AD, Caligula's reign of terror came to an abrupt end. He was assassinated by a group of Praetorian guards and senators. The conspiracy was motivated by fear, resentment, and a desire to restore stability to the empire. The assassination was swift and brutal. The death of Caligula was met with relief and jubilation. The Roman people celebrated the end of tyranny. The Senate immediately convened to discuss the future of the empire. There was even brief consideration of restoring the Republic. However, the idea was quickly dismissed. Caligula's assassination left a power vacuum. His uncle, Claudius, was proclaimed emperor by the Praetorian Guard. Claudius, initially reluctant to accept the throne, eventually agreed. He ushered in a period of relative stability and prosperity. Caligula's legacy is one of infamy and madness, serving as a warning about the dangers of absolute power and unchecked ambition.